All right, today we're talking about a hidden force that shapes almost every single product you touch, from the car you drive to the coffee maker on your counter. We're talking about quality.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You buy one toaster, it lasts for a decade. The next one dies in a month. One app on your phone is just seamless, the other is a buggy, frustrating mess. So what's the deal? Is it all just bad luck?
No way. Not at all. That difference isn't an accident. It's the result of a very deliberate and, often totally invisible, discipline.
So this is our quest for quality. We're going to meet the masterminds, the gurus, if you will, whose ideas created the modern world of reliable, excellent products that we honestly kind of take for granted.
Our journey starts with what was, at the time, a pretty radical idea. What if quality wasn't just a gut feeling, but something you could actually measure? This was the massive breakthrough from our first group of thinkers, the statisticians.
It all kicks off with a man named Walter Shewhart and his revolutionary idea, statistical process control, or SPC for short. His insight was one of those things that's so simple but so profound. Use data to watch a process, and you can catch problems the very instant they begin.
Shewhart's key invention was the control chart. And think about this, all of a sudden, a manager didn't have to guess anymore. They could literally see right there on a piece of paper if their process was stable or if it was spiraling out of control. For the first time ever, quality became visible.
Now, Shewhart's student, a guy named W. Edwards Deming, took these statistical tools and built something much, much bigger. He created a complete philosophy for management, famously captured in his 14 points. This wasn't just about charts. It was a call to humanize the workplace, drive out fear, and crucially, stop blaming workers for problems that were actually baked into the system.
And Deming's impact? It was absolutely monumental. After World War II, it was his teachings on statistical control and continuous improvement that helped trigger Japan's economic miracle, transforming a reputation from a source of cheap toys into a global symbol of high-quality manufacturing.
But pretty soon, people realized that charts and numbers weren't the whole story. Quality couldn't just be the job of a statistician in a back room. It had to come from the very top. And that brings us to our next group, the leaders, who focused on managing quality as a core part of a company's culture.
One of those leaders, Joseph Juran, had a major breakthrough using the Pareto principle. You probably know it as the 80-20 rule. He saw that for most companies, a whopping 80% of their quality problems came from just 20% of the causes. His advice was brilliant. Stop chasing every little issue and focus all your energy on that vital few.
Juran then structured this whole approach into his trilogy. It's super logical. First, you plan for quality from the very start. Second, you control the process to maintain that quality. And third, and this is the important one, you are always looking for ways to improve it.
Now, following that logic was Philip Crosby, and he took it a step further. He argued that waiting to find mistakes at the end of the line, well, that's just too late. For him, true quality wasn't inspection, it was prevention. It was about building systems where making mistakes was basically impossible to begin with.
Crosby laid all this out in his 4 absolutes. And what was the goal? 0 defects. Not almost perfect, but 0. He famously said that quality is free because the cost of preventing errors is always going to be less than the cost of finding them and fixing them later.
Armand Feigenbaum then took this idea of company-wide responsibility and just blew it up with his concept of total quality control. He said quality isn't just the job of the quality department. No, it's everyone's job, from the CEO to the person on the assembly line, from the design team to the sales team, everyone.
The final evolution of this thinking came from Japan, led by a group we'll call the strategists. For them, they saw an even deeper connection. They believed the highest form of quality was achieving perfect efficiency by relentlessly, ruthlessly eliminating waste.
So, you have Kaoru Ishikawa. His philosophy was all about empowering every single employee to be a problem solver. To do that, he created the fishbone diagram. It's this simple but incredibly powerful tool for teams to map out every possible cause of a defect, just to make sure no stone is left unturned.
And this way of thinking really hit its peak at Toyota with engineers like Shigeo Shingo and Teiichi Ono.
They basically created a whole new language for quality. Poka-yoke, for example, means making processes mistake-proof. Think of a USB cable that only fits one way. Just-in-time means building only what you need exactly when you need it, which eliminates tons of wasteful inventory. And Kanban was the simple visual system that orchestrated this entire beautiful dance, ensuring a perfect waste-free flow.
And finally, Junichi Taguchi focused on the very beginning, the design phase. He developed this concept of robust design. Instead of trying to control every tiny little variable in a chaotic factory, why not just design the product itself to be tough, to be insensitive to those variations? That way, it just comes out consistently high quality every single time. So, what's the lasting legacy of all these gurus? Well, when you combine all of these ideas, what you really get is the blueprint for the modern world we live in.
So let's put it all together. The statisticians, they taught us to measure quality. The leaders taught us to manage it as a core philosophy. And the strategists taught us how to perfect it by eliminating waste. You can see how each layer just builds beautifully on the last one.
And these aren't just abstract theories, right? The reason your car starts every morning, the reason your phone is so incredibly reliable, is because the principles developed by these 9 thinkers are literally built into the very fabric of how those things are made. Their quest for quality completely defines your daily experience.
Which, of course, brings us to a final question. These 9 thinkers defined quality for the industrial age, an age of machines and factories. But in our world of software, data, and AI, what does quality even mean anymore? And who are the new gurus defining it for our generation? Well, that's the next chapter in this quest. Thanks for joining us.